Matthew 6:26, where it says, like, for God takes care of the birds in the sky, like, why do you worry, basically?
So, interesting thing about that tattoo in that picture.
Yeah.
While I get it, it actually is poor theology. Not the painting. Not like painting is poor theology. I mean, you know, God has given people the ability
poor
to.
Theology real quick.
Sure. Think about it this way, and this is really common in American Christianity. The idea of Jesus reaching down and us reaching up, right, grabbing his hand so he can rescue us. Right.
What this means to me, is like, you know, Peter had the courage to get on the water at first.
Right. Yeah.
And then he started falling because of his unbelief.
Right. Lack of faith.
And so like.
And so Jesus grabbed him.
Sometimes I, in my unbelief, am falling, and this is just a symbol to remind me, like, Jesus is always waiting for me. Like, he's always right there.
Yeah.
And so that's what that means to me, and I don't know what poor theology is.
Well, no, I'm not trying to offend you or anything.
No.
But
I didn't mean.
But no.
Like that.
But many Christians believe that there's like a life preserver analogy. Have you ever heard that? Where Jesus throws the life preserver out, and all we have to do is grab that preserver, and he'll pull us to safety. Yeah. Right now.
To some extent, that's kind of true, right?
Well, not regarding salvation. Now, the way you're interpreting your own tattoo is that you are a Christian, and he is always there to help you. And that's true. He will never leave us or forsake us. But many Christians would apply that same tattoo and that painting to salvation. And here's where the poor theology is. How can a dead person grab a life preserver?
So, but that is how you, I mean, it is that easy to get saved. I mean, you do just have to literally reach out and grab that life preserver.
Right. But what the Bible teaches is that the unbeliever is dead in their sin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For instance, you remember the story of Lazarus?
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus'
best friend.
Right, and Jesus waited until he was dead for several days before going and raising him from the dead. Right.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that he waited 4 days, because the belief at that time, and it's likely supportable today as well, is that by the fourth day, a body starts to decay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And in fact, Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, when Jesus said, "Roll away the stone," they said, "Well, it's going to really smell.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do that because it's going to let out a big stink."
That would smell.
Right, because the body's starting to decay. But Jesus commanded, "Roll away the stone." They rolled away the stone, and then Jesus said, "Lazarus, come forth." And Lazarus walked out of the tomb alive.
That'd be nuts.
Alive.
Yeah.
And Jesus said, unwrap him. Right. What had to happen to Lazarus before he could obey Jesus' command to come out of the tomb?
What had to happen?
What had to happen to him before he came out of the tomb?
Oh man, I don't know. You're stumping me here. I mean, he had to believe.
But he was dead.
He was dead. So
what did Jesus have to do to him before he could obey the command to come forth? He had to make him alive.
Yeah, he'd have to be alive.
Right?
It's like a little paradox, kind of.
Right? So Lazarus couldn't obey the command to come out of the tomb until Jesus made him alive.
Yep.
And when Jesus made him alive, what's Lazarus going to want to do? He's not going to refuse to come out and say, "No, I like the way this smells. I like being wrapped in these burial clothes. I like being in this dark tomb forever. I like being dead." Right?
Yeah.
He's not going to do that, because in that sense, Jesus literally changed his nature from dead to alive.
Yeah.
Right? And so because of that new nature, what else is he going to do but come out?
Yeah.
Right? So that same kind of thinking would apply to salvation. See, Jesus isn't throwing a life preserver out to people who have the ability to grab a life preserver and decide to come in and decide to be saved. because they're dead. They're floating face down in the water. They've drowned. They're dead.
Yeah.
Right? Just like, as you know, Ephesians 2:1-3 says, we're all dead in our sin.
Yeah. Correct.
Right?
I believe that.
Okay, good. So as a dead person, again, speaking about an unbeliever.
Yes.
Now, apply this to a believer.
Yeah, totally different meaning.
We should cling to Christ. We should always cling to Christ, right?
Absolutely.
And as with Peter, he pulled him out of the water, right? Jesus says, I'll never leave you or forsake you. We ought to cling to that kind of theology. But for an unbeliever has no desire to reach to Christ because they're dead.
So you're saying they have to be, like, God has to
regenerate them.
So it's
literally
not
cause
us,
them. It's all Him.
So what's that called? Predestination or whatever?
Well, yeah, that's part of it. The idea that God decided before the foundation of the world who He was going to save.
Yeah.
Right. And all of those He is determined to save, He will regenerate. So
what's the flip side of that? So then it's our decision?
Well, we all make a decision. Look, you've made a decision to follow Christ.
So, yeah.
It has nothing to do with free will.
Okay.
In this sense.
Yeah.
Our free will is limited by our nature. I have a dog at home, about 17 pounds, named Roxy. Okay, cute little Chihuahua mix. She can do a vertical climb up one of our trees about 5.5 feet.
Yep.
And she's like this. You know, to get a squirrel or something, she's going.
That's crazy.
Right? But she's never going to live in a tree, gather nuts, have little baby squirrels, because she's a dog.
Correct.
Right? She's always going to be a dog. But if God were to miraculously turn her from a dog into a squirrel, then she would act like a squirrel.
Correct.
The unbelievers, the lost person's always going to act like an unbeliever. They're always going to want and desire the things an unbeliever desires, namely sin. Their desire isn't going to be to please God. Their desire isn't going to be to walk with Christ because they're dead in their sin.
Yeah.
But if God causes them to be born again to a living hope, if He regenerates them, if He takes their heart of stone and gives them a heart of flesh, because they've got a new nature, they will want to do that which is pleasing to God.
Yeah.
Because He has changed them. And so instead of the analogy of a life preserver or Jesus reaching underwater and us reaching up to Him to grab onto Him in the sense of the unbeliever, it should be a grappling hook.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus throws a grappling hook out, drags a dead body off the water, and then, as we would, perform CPR in a sense, He breathes new life into them.
Yeah. You're pretty good with your little analogies, huh?
Well, I mean,
you just like bam, bam, bam.
Well, there's nothing I know that I haven't learned elsewhere. So, there's nothing new under the sun, and I'm just a guy out here sharing the gospel. But I hope that's helpful to you.
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
So
the whole predestined. My brother's a pastor.
Yeah.
My dad's a pastor.
Now, you mentioned one of your brothers is overseeing the freshmen
at Salt. Yeah.
At Salt. Is he the brother that's the pastor, or is it a different?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he pastor at Verity?
He's not like a pastor. But he's
student leader.
Yeah.
But is that what he desires to do?
But yeah, no, he's going to what's it called? Seminary.
Seminary. You say your dad's a pastor as well?
He used to be.
Okay.
He used to be a youth pastor, and then he led a church. It was our favorite church, and then it just slowly dwindled down.
Yeah, that happens.
And then, now he's just a pretty successful businessman. Yeah. Really smart guy. He's the smartest dude. But, yeah, it's just...
So, part of why this is important, what we're talking about, is so much of evangelism today in the Christian church is trying to get decisions.
Yeah.
And when you, quote-unquote, fail to get a decision, how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels like...
But if we have the right theology in our head, if we have the right thinking in our head about who's actually doing the saving,
oh yeah, it's never us.
Then it's not my responsibility to save anyone. It's simply my responsibility to love a person enough to put the gospel into their hand or share the gospel and trust that God is either going to plant that seed.
My best friend, dude, I was praying for this guy like my entire life.
Yeah.
Since like 6th grade, we've been best friends, and he didn't love the Lord. The last day that we spent together, we had a really good conversation about religion, and he got saved that day, and I was like, and I was like, wait, no, that wasn't me.
That's right.
That was him.
Yeah, if the Lord saved your friend, it was the Lord that did it, not us.
It wasn't me. But that was super cool. That was the second person that I've ever led to the Lord.
Yeah.
It was super sick. And he's doing great too. Just got a new Bible. I started reading again.
Good.
Because I don't read the Bible very often. I think it's hard. I think it's like I don't understand it. But 5th day in a row today, so.
Well, good. How many days a week do you miss breakfast?
None. Yeah.
You'll feed your stomach.
Yeah, I know. I need my bread, my daily bread.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Keep feeding on it.
Good talking, Tony.
Good talking to you too, Luke.
You have a nice day.
All right, man. God bless you. God bless you. Have a good day.